Hello and welcome to Pompey Talk in partnership with Jan Lee. My name is Mark McMahon and join me in the studio today to discuss Pompey's 1-0 FA Cup victory against Accrington is new sports writers Neil Allen and Jordan Cross. Neil, I'll start with you first. Adam McGurk scored the winning goal on Saturday, but in your match report you're eulogising over Mark McNulty.
Yeah, McNulty really was a star man, and again he showed what a class recruitment he's been. Last year we couldn't really say that about loan signings, but this year Paul Cook's got some crackers, and he's one of them. And his pace, his movement, his energy, and it was his cross that set McGurk up for the winner. For me, the outstanding player, and I know a lot of people agree. It's been spoken about on social media and at the game, and it's not often the goal scorer is not the man of the match, but on this occasion had to be.
Jordy, we're already wondering how many days it is until his loan spells up. Is there any hope of Pompey extending that?
Well, Pompey certainly hope so, and it's a thing we'll be picking up in the paper tomorrow. Liam Richardson's thoughts on that. Pompey are confident they've got a gentleman's agreement. But as soon as you hear the words gentleman's agreement, then you know it's not contractual. It's a flimsy sort of understanding that could easily be, turned around quite quickly. But Sheffield United have indicated to Pompey that he's there for the season. The fact that he's allowed to play in the FA Cup shows you that they don't want him cup tied. So when the January the 3rd, is it?
Yes.
The loan runs until then, it will be extended. So that was the agreement they had with the club, and Catlin's very, very friendly with the chief executive at Sheffield United and very confident about that. But the more he's scoring these goals, the more he's catching the attention, the more that Sheffield United are struggling in that department, and the more likely it can be that these things can be turned around, which would be a huge blow because for me, in what we've seen of him, he could be the difference this season. I'm not sort of underestimating it. He really has been that good since he's come in, or shown signs of being that good since he came in. From the moment against Macclesfield when he came on, and we talked about it when he had a burst of place to the byline and burnt off their defence, you kind of thought, oh, this is a player that's going to stand out at this level, and he's a whole all-round contribution. He looks too good for League Two for me, and he gives something that Pompey have been lacking at the moment, and the partnerships are promising at the moment. Obviously, Lavery missed out the weekend, but there's an understanding developing there. Again, with McGurk, something that we're going to pick up in the paper again, that there's a genesis of an understanding there. So a lot to be built on, and it'd be very, very disappointing if he was to leave in January.
So the gaff of the day, Tom Dibble makes an excellent point. When was the last time Pompey had a really good striker over recent times? And you're struggling really. Matt Tubbs has scored goals over the last calendar year without question, but is there anyone else really?
When are you going back a real number of years, right? Really, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, aren't you? Yeah. So
I'm going to Cuba. I'm going afterwards, and then
it's still early days. When he's only played six games, isn't it? So
it's easy to get excited as well.
But yeah, Pompey for a long time just haven't had many good strikers for a number of years. So hopefully now this could be different.
You mentioned his name, Matt Tubbs. He hasn't been in the side, obviously, through injury for the past couple of weeks. You're sort of like going, Matt Tubbs who? When you got McNulty and Lavery in good form, you're sort of like going, we can do without Matt Tubbs if McNulty stays.
Well, yeah, we were saying that Tubbs has what 5-6 goals this year? Five goals this year. Yeah. So he still scored goals. He always scores goals, Tubbs, but we know he's struggling to adjust to the system. We've seen it in games, and common sense would tell you that he has to go in January if McNulty stays, and Lavery is another one. I think keep him, who's done very well as well, and Tubbs hasn't succeeded, and in this system, let's not forget. So, what we're going to do about him, I can't see him staying.
Yeah. He won't be staying in January. I'll be pretty certain about it. And the other good thing about that at the moment is you're looking at McGurk. That was 6 for the season for McGurk now. Yeah. Tubbs has got 5 goals. Roberts, who's been injured, 4. The goals have been 6 goals. 6 goals for him there, and the goals have really been spread around, and that's a big thing, because you kind of look at teams and think, have you got a 20-goal a season man? Is that the difference between promotion? Well, perhaps when you get lots of 10s and 15s, that can be the key factor. And Paul Cook's picked up on that, because if you do rely on one man, take him out of the equation, then you start to panic. But you've got goals coming from all directions. And McGurk and the fluency of the formation, I think people do get a bit wrapped up in formations and 4-2-3-1s, and whether it's a 4-4-1-1, but because you see the fluid nature of them, and again, that's something that worked really well at the weekend.
Well, Neil, the Pompey clearly have goals in their ranks, but what happened on Saturday? Only 1 goal.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. That's it, only 1 goal, and then obviously McNulty struck the bar. Minotti laid a great chance from McGurk, who should have scored. But Pompey were comfortable throughout, really, and it was a bit tense at the end there, needlessly, because the referee went off and there was 7 minutes of time added on. And a bullet header, wasn't it, from their substitute Gornell straight at Murphy.
A yard or even a few inches either side, and we would have been getting that nightmare return trip to Accrington.
Which we all wanted to avoid.
It was comfortable for Pompey. They played some good stuff, and Accrington are a good side as well. Job done. I think everyone came away very happy.
It was a real typical cup affair, really. A bit blowy conditions. It was a bit spiky in the second half. I think Accrington are really fast developing into kind of Pompey's rivals in this league. I mean, there's a lot of familiarity between the sides and the management, and that kind of breeds a little bit of contempt. We saw Jimmy Bell at the full-time whistle incandescent with rage. He was absolutely fuming, and it was just apparently he's not the most popular figure, Jimmy Bell. His reputation precedes him. He's a bit of a character, likes to inflame situations, and I know there's kind of although Pompey publicly afterwards, Liam Richardson come out and played down the situation. I think there's kind of everyone's got their views on people between the clubs. There are a lot of friends and probably a few enemies there as well. So, the fact that they're fast developing into this kind of rivals, they're above Pompey in the league. And John Coleman came out and said Pompey were the better team after the game. But if you listen to his quotes, he said they executed their game plan well. They aimed to stop us playing, and and they went a bit long as well, which the Paul Cook would have been angry. Yeah, they went played the conditions and went a long ball a bit quicker than us, and it worked out. And you knew that was all kind of point scoring, so to speak. And just wait until January when they come to our place and we'll see what happens then, kind of thing. So it's a bit loaded up for that game in a month's time.
Neil, at the back, Christian Burgess obviously dropped down onto the bench and they brought on Matt Clark instead. How did he play?
Yeah, he did well. We know what we get from Clark. He's a very solid, defensively strong, defensively sound player, gives us all, puts his body on the line, and he did well, didn't he, at the start of the season, and he sort of faded a little bit, and then was brought out, and Webster put in because he's basically an 18-year-old first team football for the first time. But he did well as well. But of course, what you get with him is that he's not as comfortable on the ball as Burgess and Webster. So many times with his left foot, he was screwing the ball out of play with the wind as well, wasn't it? Whereas Cook obviously likes his defender to bring it out and play it out. So it gives you that difference at the centre of defence there. What
was the point of that there? Was it just to give Clark more game time or give Burgess a rest? Because I think he's been an ever-present.
Both, yeah. When I asked the question afterwards, he said, Liam Richardson said that kind of Burgess has been involved in terms of the league anyway, pretty much all the way through. He's not sat out of any training. So it's just time to take him out, and Clark's had a bit of a break now, and he started well. He dropped off, the levels dropped off a bit, but you forget the lad's only 18 still, because he's such a beast, sort of a 6'5", big beard. He looks a lot older than what he actually is, and it was time just to get him back in again. I dare say that in terms of Ipswich keeping a close eye on proceedings as well, they'd like the lad to be playing a bit more than he has done, because he's been out of the equation for a couple month or two now. So he came in, he did well. Third clean sheet in 5 games against a team who've been in free scoring form. I think it's kind of like 13-4 or 20 goals in like 6 or 7 games for Accrington. They've been hitting a lot of form, and for Pompey to snuff them out, another plus point.
Okay, Neil, we'll just quickly then go to tonight's draw. Obviously, Pompey are in the hat for the 3rd round. Paul Cook, in the back of today's news, said he would like Southampton if possible. Do you go along with that there?
Don't want Southampton or Eastleigh. No. Eastleigh, you're in a hiding to nothing, and Southampton, let's face it, they've got a better team. Yeah. Pompey got such a good record. The 2 4-1s in recent times. The two draws. That's right. The year Pompey got relegated.
Even when Pompey was struggling, they didn't get the better of Pompey.
Exactly. So we don't. Southampton will beat Pompey most times at this stage because where their team is, where Pompey is. So forget that. I don't want to play them.
Jordy, what do you fancy?
Again, not Southampton.
Southampton?
Yeah, exactly that. Paul Cook's view was that, well, he had nothing to lose. Well, our dignity would be the view of a lot of Pompey fans if they get stuff. I can see where Paul Cook's coming from a managerial point of view there, perhaps, isn't it? It's a free shot, but the fact that you've had the 4-1s and as Neil rightly says, when Pompey were going backwards, they still had the joy of those, particularly the game at St Mary's and the nature of getting the result there, coming late. That was a joyous occasion. So the embarrassment of a heavy defeat would weigh heavily for Pompey fans. So home tie, please not Carlisle away. and that'd be about it.
Yeah. Would you prefer a Premier League team bringing a crowd down to Fratton Park, or would you prefer a lesser team so that Pompey can progress in the competition?
It'd be nice to have an occasion now, wouldn't it, with the big boys coming in at this stage. Pompey aren't going to win the cup, you know, and so to progress, okay, it helps financially. That would be a benefit, but you're looking for the occasions when they come in. Okay, it'd be nice to go away to a big boy as well. You know, if a result, you know, and a real battering wouldn't knock the confidence that much. You'd hope that wouldn't happen, but just an occasion would be nice now. And yeah, one of the big boys at Fratton would be perfect.
Good stuff. Well, lads, thanks again for your thoughts. You've been watching Pompey Talk in partnership with Jan Lee. My name is Mark McMahon. Goodbye.